you're probably wondering why I'm sweating right now. That's because I was trying to learn a TikTok dance, and those are... So I have my list of things here of... I have a... Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Emma, and today's video is going to be a how I got into my dream school. So I'm just gonna talk about like the schools I applied to and my stats and things that I did to ensure that I would get in. And yeah, I like to watch a lot of these videos when I was a junior in high school. So, and I'm a senior and I'm about to graduate. So I thought I would make this video to kind of show people like the things that they need, but yeah. And most people that are watching this video are people I already know, so hi, but if not, you guys should subscribe down below and follow me. Okay, so I have a list of things here to talk about, and I think I'm gonna start with the schools that I applied to. So, I'm gonna go ahead and throw it out there that this is not me bragging about my stats and stuff like that. This is more of an educational video for people who want to go to college or people who are planning on going to a nice school. The schools that I applied to are Louisiana State University, Clemson. Those are the two out of state that I applied to. And then my in-state schools that I applied to are University of South Florida, Florida Atlantic University, University of Central Florida, Florida State University, and University of Florida. The school that I am going to is the University of Florida. And I'm super excited. That is my dream school. That's the school I've been wanting to go to since I was probably in 3rd grade. And it took a lot of work to be able to get in. I didn't think I was gonna get in, so it was kind of awesome. So, to get into the University of Florida, I believe that the test score range that they kind of wanted was between, I think it was a 29 to a 32, which was really high because that's ACT. And I think their SAT was like above a 1300, I don't remember. But that was the one thing that I thought was gonna hold me back was my test scores, because the highest test scores I got was a 29 ACT and a 1260 SAT. The 29 ACT was like, I guess lower on the spectrum, so I thought that that was something that was gonna hold me back, but thankfully it didn't. And then the SAT, in my opinion, was harder for me than the ACT was, but I didn't realize that, so I kept trying to take the SAT, and then finally I took the ACT, and my first ACT score was a 27, and I took that in March of 2019. And then I took it again in September of 2019 and got my 29. So then I stopped taking the tests after that. And that was the ones, I also needed my test scores for, in Florida they have Bright Futures. So it's like the scholarship that pays for your tuition. And I wasn't gonna be able to go to University of Florida, most likely if I didn't get that, because I can't afford it, so yeah. And then my GPA was a 4.58 at the time of applying, which is on the higher side because a normal GPA, like without any APs or dual enrollment credits or anything like that, would be a 4.0. So that's my weighted, and then my unweighted is a 4.0. The only reason why my GPA is so high is because of my dual enrollment classes. Those are like, I think 5.0, so they're weighted differently than a normal class would. So I highly recommend taking, if you want to get your GPA up, I highly recommend taking AP classes, and if you can, dual enrollment classes through a college, a local college or something like that. That was really helpful as well. Class rank. So I don't think colleges really look at class rank because it's only asked like once on your application and that's it. Some of these questions were asked like multiple times. What are your extracurriculars? Tell us about your extracurriculars. Give us an essay about what you've done. So I don't think this is something that they extremely look at. But at the time of applying, I was 3rd in my class. And then now I'm 1st in my class, but they look at back then. So like I said, I don't think that really matters. But if you focus, if you get your GPA up, your class rank goes up. And I don't even think some schools have a class rank. I've heard that somewhere. So if that's not something you have, I wouldn't really worry about it, because people that don't have a high class rank still get into these schools. So I had over 200 community service hours at the time of application, like at the time of applying. Because of my extracurriculars, some of them count as community service hours, so that was how I was able to get those. I think community service hours are really important on your application. Again, this is like speculation, so please don't, if you want a professional, ask a professional. Definitely don't ask me. But this is my like suggestions, and this is how I got into the school that I've been wanting to go to since I was in literally, I think 3rd grade was when I decided I want to go here. So. I think the essays are what got me into UF, because the people who review the applications, that's what I'm trying to say. I think that they really prefer like heartfelt essays and not the like common, oh, well, I volunteer here and this and that. I think that they are looking for more of like who you are as a person, not what you do for other people. That's what I think. That I watched a lot of videos before I applied to all of these schools. And I think that's what they're looking for. So I wrote very personal essays about my life. Obviously, I'm not gonna share it, but my essays, I had my entire family read them. I had staff at my school read them, and then I reviewed them and wrote them again and again until I got them right, and then I submitted them. UF was the only school that required essays, like the essays had to be sent to them, but then you could also send the essays to all the other schools that they said it's optional. So that was something that was nice about applying to the other schools other than UF, is that the essay was optional. My suggestion though is to send the essays if it's optional, because it gives them more of a sense of who you are. So I sent my essays to all the schools that said that I'm allowed to send them to, because most of these schools are, if you're a junior, you'll learn what Common App is. It's basically like where you can just apply to all these schools with one application instead of filling out multiple applications. So all of these schools except for Clemson and USF were on Common App, so I was able to do that. And I sent my essays to pretty much all of them, I think, except for Clemson. My suggestion for the essays is, if you're gonna write an essay aimed towards that college, like if it's like, why is this the school you want to go to? I would suggest leaving the name out of it. Like, I want to go to LSU. I would just put, I want to go to this school because, and that way you can send that same essay to multiple schools instead of having to write different essays. I would just save yourself the time and write one essay and send it to all of them. All right, I'm gonna move on to extracurricular. My favorite part, because I feel like high school would be the worst time of my life if I didn't have something to like have fun doing after school, because I focused extremely hard throughout all 4 years of high school. I had to get A's, like I've never let myself get B's. I worked extremely hard, and so the extracurriculars are what kept me sane. So first I'm gonna talk about sports. So I played 3 different sports throughout my 4 years. I played softball, volleyball, and I did weightlifting. I did softball for 4 years, so I was on varsity 3 of the 4 years, JV 1 of the 4 years. Then volleyball, I was on varsity for 4 years, and then weightlifting I did for 2 years. And there's I guess you can say varsity and and JV, but it's really just one team. And I did weightlifting for 2 years. Those I think were kind of the things that kind of set me apart from some of the other applicants, because when you're applying to these type of schools, like the higher level, like university level schools, people have all sorts of things on their applications, things that you may not even have heard of. Like some of the people applying are business owners already and they're 18 years old. So you have to make sure that you set yourself apart. Those are the sports I played. And then I had 2 clubs on my application. I had ambassadors. I was president of ambassadors my senior year. this year, and then I was in ambassadors my junior year. It's a senior year program. It is basically like you're the leaders of the school, you host events, you do community service, you run the graduation at the school, you host 5Ks, you host like all kinds of events. So I was president of that program, and then I was vice president of NHS, National Honor Society. We just, we didn't really do much for NHS, but I was able to put it on my application, so that was nice. And then I felt like my application was lacking I don't know what I would think I was lacking, but I just wanted to add something special. And if you're in the top 20 of your class at my school, we used to do meetings with our college and career counselor every once in a while. And so she told me to put college and career like club or whatever on my application, because there was a section where it asked like, did you do any clubs that prepared you for college or something like that? And when we had these meetings, we only had like 5 meetings, I think. She like helped us with like learn how to apply, what to do later on, like all that kind of stuff. So she told me to put that on there, and I listened to her and I put it on there. So if you do anything like that, I would ask them if it's okay if you put that on there, and then call it a day. So now I'm gonna move on to recommendation letters. I didn't even write this on here. This is just coming from the brain. A lot of the schools asked for them. Some of them were not necessary, but I know for a fact LSU required recommendation letters. So if you want to get into LSU, make sure you have really good recommendation letters. So pick the person who writes your recommendation wisely. If you know the teacher hates you, don't let them write your recommendation letter, because they probably are not going to write as good of a letter as somebody who loves you. Moving on to why I chose UF over the other schools. So I'm gonna start with the 2 out-of-state schools, and then I'll go into the in-state schools. So I got into both LSU and Clemson. And if you know me, you know I'm a huge Clemson Tigers fan, but unfortunately I decided not to go to Clemson because of the cost, and it wasn't necessarily right for my major. So I'm majoring in biology, following a pre-professional track or pre-med track. So LSU, I decided not to go there. Even though they have an amazing biology program, I still couldn't afford it. Plus it's in Louisiana, and that's just too far away from my family. I don't have any family that lives there, so I was like, that's just not gonna happen. And Clemson, I have a lot of family that lives in South Carolina, and that would have been nice, but again, the tuition was too much and it wasn't meant for me. So now I'm gonna move on to the in-state schools. I knew when I applied that I was not gonna go to University of South Florida, because I did not wanna live in Tampa, because I don't like Tampa. And it never sounded like the right school to me. I just knew I did not want to be a bull. So I decided not to go to USF. FAU, Florida Atlantic, it was one of those schools that I didn't know about until I started applying to schools, and then I realized that it had a really good biology program. Well, it has a good biology program, and I got into the honors college there. But when I toured the When I toured the honors college, I did not like it. Like, it just wasn't my fit. I went there to apply for some scholarships, and I didn't get the scholarship I applied for, but I did get another scholarship. But it wasn't enough to make me want to go there. Like, if they offered me more money, I probably would have considered it more, because I wouldn't have to pay for my tuition or for my room and board or anything like that. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't the school for me. It was too small for my liking. I need to be in a big place, and they didn't have a lot of campus life. Like, we didn't see anybody walking around. Like, it was very small and just wasn't my fit. So that was why I did not go to FAU. And it came down to the 3 schools that I knew I was going to decide between anyways, and that was going to be UF, FSU, and UCF. And as I mentioned before, UF was always my dream school, but it was also the hardest school I applied to besides LSU. UF is just like one of those schools that is, for some reason, really hard to get into. So I first found out I got into UCF because they have rolling admission, and UCF is like right in my backyard. It's like an hour away. And it's a great school. I also go to a lot of their football games and their softball games and all that kind of stuff. So it was definitely an option. They also have a good biology program. But I knew that I wanted to get out of Central Florida. Then I got into FSU, and my sister goes to FSU too. So that was another reason why I didn't want to go there, but it's okay. Not that I don't love her. I just did not want to be at the same school as her. Their biology program is good. If I had to choose between FSU and UCF, I probably, at the end of the day, would have chosen UCF. And this was hard for me because I had a whole conversation with my parents. If I didn't get into UF, where was I gonna go, FSU or UCF? And I kept telling them I don't want to go to UCF, I don't want to go to UCF, because I had clouded judgment, like I did not want to stay here. But looking back at it now that I don't have to choose between them, at the end of the day, I'm smart enough to know that I would have chosen UCF because it was the better option out of the two for my major and like just for life, I guess. And then finally I found out I got into UF, and it was basically instant that I knew I was going there. They waived my tuition deposit, which was really nice, like my acceptance fee. I think that's what it is, acceptance fee. They waived it, so like instantly I knew I was going there because that's my dream school, and I just knew like that it was it. I've always known that it was it, like since I was little. It just they have so many extracurriculars, they have so much campus life, their community, they have a good football team. That was not the reason, but they have a good football team. Their biology program is what I needed the best, in my opinion, like the school for me. So that is why I decided to go to UF and not the other schools. I am extremely excited to go to UF. It's probably like the thing I'm looking forward to the most, the thing that's keeping me sane during the quarantine, because like all of my stuff has been canceled and stuff like that. So all I have now is to look forward to my first semester of college. So I could not have done any of this without my parents. So if you have supportive parents, definitely thank them for their help. Like I said, I watched a ton of these videos when I was a junior and the beginning of my senior year. I think they're super helpful, and I'm so excited to be going to UF. I've said that like 10 times, but it's my dream school, and my dreams came true. So I hope everything goes well for you guys. If you guys have any questions, comment them down below and maybe I can answer some. Like I said, I am not bragging about my statistics or anything like that. This was just my way of sharing with you guys how I got into my school, what I did, and hopefully you guys have some of the same stuff, or you guys have your own unique things, and that'll get you guys into the schools that you want to go to. Everyone ends up where they're supposed to be at the end of the day, I believe. And so yeah, thank you guys for watching. As always, like, comment, and subscribe down below. If you guys watch this and you're not subscribed, just subscribe down below and make it easier. Okay, I'll see you guys next time.